Hey peeps, this is Mr. Puggy Boy. Usually on YouTube, you can catch my rants on YouTube. I'm gonna try and test drive a segment that I want to create, and it's called um, "Note to the People." And within this, I'm going to express some political views, but they're not really views. They're not my views. My views. I'm Democrat. I'm a progressive Democrat. I am a liberal Democrat. I'm all that. I'm way to the left. I believe in live and let live and move on. I don't believe in getting in your business. I don't believe in you getting my business. But when you make decisions that affect me and my community, then I will get involved. Feel like it's my civic duty, and I'm just one vote. But I believe that these votes are influenced, and they can be influenced. They can be influenced to the right or to the left, and to the center. Well, today's note is let's look at what happened in 2010. 2010 was a sweep across the country uh, with the Republicans basically winning, turning a lot of blue states red, kicking out a lot of Democrats. And what they were running on, the platform that they were running on, was big government, big spending, and the I'm not going to call it the Obamacare healthcare reform. Um, after the people elected them, and they got into office, they got to work. They got to work on a real agenda, and now states like Wisconsin, uh, uh, Florida, the South, a lot of governors, poll numbers are dropping right now because the agenda that they are trying to implement is not the platform that they ran on. They lied. I'm gonna bring back something else within that campaign. President Clinton came and spoke to the progressive left, to the Democrats, to the independents, actually, to the independents. And he said they're fooling you. Well, now you know. They fooled you. Now, your vote is your vote. However you want to vote, you can. But feeling their agenda now, I'm really hoping that you will lean left because there is no Republican in the running right now that see anything different. They will tell you what they think you like to hear. They will tell you what you think you like to hear. And once they get in office, the agenda for you changes. Now, Governor Walker is one of them. He pushed through an extreme agenda, and now the people are mad. And I believe there's a lot of independents up there. They just want to work. They just want to raise their families, have a barbecue occasionally, go to the park, celebrate life, and live like Americans should live. The way we were living in the 90s. The way we were living in the 90s. So this decision has been made. The Republicans got all the states, and now they're just trying to dismantle it from the bottom up. And that's exactly what they're doing, people. Now I know you guys don't pay attention to national as much, and definitely not local. But the result of that is what the Republicans are doing now, which now is going to take a lot more work to dismantle their work. You see, these are laws that they're passing. These are just not pieces of paper. These are laws. And within these laws require that the middle class and the working poor take take a hit. Take a hit right in the gut knock the wind out of you. And from the I'm not going to quote that, the sane political media, the sane political media, and I'm talking about Fox, and I'm talking about MSNBC. That's it. It seems like them two are the ones that are at odds. And the thing is everyone should disregard Fox. We should disregard Fox because if I'm not mistaken, they will not report some of the shows in there. I'm gonna say some will not report on the scandals that the right get caught in. But when Wiener was showing his wiener, then that's what they focused on. And the left wing media followed suit. See, and that's the difference between the two. Now, I know middle class and working poor and the poor, I know it's hard to pay attention to these things because you got to work, you got to raise your family, you've got to, do all this. You work, basically, you work 75% of your life. And paying attention to these local governments or local elections, I should say, just does not fit in there. Well, now they're trying to take your retirement away. Now they're trying to take your retirement away. That's on a national level. Unfortunately, the Dems don't seem like they know how to fight. They really don't. They get handed all kinds of gifts. They get handed all kinds of gifts, and I see why independents just don't want to do anything with them because they don't know how to fight, and then they kick the person out that knows how to fight out, which is absurd to me. It's just absurd. All because of his wiener. Now the battle is back to focus, so they say, and they're about to give up some concessions in the budget. Now, I work, you work, the majority of Americans work. The unemployed is not. It's not that big. It's not. It's a big number. It's a big number, but it's not bigger than the whole community of America. It's not. People are working. Economies are moving. So don't let them tell you that there's no money, because there is. Now, what they did was shifted the money to the top two. Let's give it some leeway. Top 4% richest people in the world, in the country. And with that, leaves the middle class with a little bit of money just to barely do what they need to do in order to get by. A lot depend on scholarships for school. And that's a good thing. They're trying to cut it. They're trying to cut it locally as well as nationally. Everything they're doing nationally, they're trying to do locally. Everything they're doing locally, they're trying to implement it nationally. Do not get it twisted. Pay attention. And I know that your life gets very busy, but you got to pay attention. We're moving into an age where we're going to be looking at $1 trillion as a norm. As a norm. Because I remember in the 80s, and $1 billion was a lot of money. The 90s, $1 trillion is a lot of money. We're now in the 21st century, and we're moving into double-digit trillions, especially with the debt is concerned. The next thing that is going to be on the table is taxes. Should the rich pay taxes? Because of these loopholes, corporations like GE, Walmart, the oil companies, the energy companies, they get all these subsidies, and it exempts them from paying taxes. But the working class income, they're paying taxes. The trickle-down effect from the Reagan days does not work, but we're in it. We need to make the rich pay a higher tax. I suggest that you contact your congressman and your senator and you let them know that taxes are on the table. And if they want a significant cut in social services, they need to raise taxes significantly. Fair exchange, no robbery. It is not about race. They like to make you think it is. It's about class. It's about class. Rich and poor. Bottom line. Middle class, you're almost out of there because they're trying to rip the negotiations from your hands. They already did it in Wisconsin. Now you can't negotiate for better wages, better working conditions, and they can treat you like we're back in the 1800s. Except the slaves are now multicolored. Yay! So don't get it twisted. The agenda is to keep the rich from paying taxes because that money that they were paying taxes is going into the Republican pockets. Most politicians that run are rich. Some of them have a few businesses. But it seems like once they get in office, and this goes for the Democrats too, as soon as they get in office, their income grows. Okay. Let's do the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Republicans believe let them eat cake in the 21st century applies. Let them eat cake. The Democrats don't mind sharing. Don't mind sharing. For some reason, we get all these Christians, these religious figures, extreme religious people, talking about women's rights and anti-abortions, but fail to apply the one principle of Jesus that they say they believe so much in. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Love the Lord your God with all your mind, body, heart, and spirit. And love your neighbor as you would love yourself. And Jesus gave another command. Forgive your enemy 70 times 7. Now, with them principles, those principles that we say we love the Lord, and you can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. If you got a Christian that's got a foul mouth, ditch him. If you got a Christian that's level-headed, keep him. Because I'm not going to get too much into religion, because what you want to believe is what you want to believe, but what I want to believe is what I'm going to believe. Now, the importance of this note to the people is so that we as a people, and I'm not the, but the young people are coming up and they realize the significance of participating in their electoral process, locally and nationally. Beautiful thing, very beautiful thing. 2008 showed that. Beautiful thing. It was beautiful. 2008 was a beautiful time. But he needs 4 more years, people. You may be mad. Things ain't went your way. To those people that don't mind shifting, stay on the fence, but vote. You know that the Republicans' agenda is far to the left, right of you, so you gotta vote left. Because right now there are no Republicans that is center-right. There are no Republicans that are closer to the center on the right side. It's center-right. There's no Republicans there. It's an empty field. There's no one there. Every Republican is to the far right. They're in there with that Tea Party. The Tea Party done yanked them all the way to the right. So women, If you support the Tea Party, know that your organs are not yours, uh, and that your choices are not yours. And some of them are to the extreme. Gays, if you're a Republican, they do not want you to get married. They don't think that you should. They think your lifestyle is disgusting. Republican gays, they think your lifestyle is disgusting. You continue on supporting them, to each his own. But they think your lifestyle is disgusting. And to the progressives, you can only move so far. You can only move so far. You can only do so much when you got a Republican Party who got a little bit of power back to continue to block things. They had to do health care the way they did it because once that was done, the Republicans were up in arms. And once they were up in arms, they cast a blind, they blindfolded the people. And it seemed like the people just was in robot mode. And they didn't even know what they were mad about. They really didn't. They really didn't. And so that's why it's important to continue to stay left. You got to. Working poor and middle class, you may be independent, you even may be Democrat or Republican. It does not matter in your class. Your political party does not matter in your class. Here's what matters. You work harder to get yours while the filthy rich continue to inherit theirs. There's nothing wrong with it. Their great-great-great-grandfather or great-grandfather could have worked and built their industry from the ground up. That's cool. Don't forget where you came from. Give some back. They don't get that. They don't get that. You got to make them give it. And if they want to leave the country, let them leave. You got to make them give it. The financial crisis that we are in was caused right after Bush got in office, his first term. That's when it was downhill ever since then. And for those that think that keeping taxes low is going to solve the jobs problem, it's not. The reason being, you've got 8 years to look back and look. President Bush only created 1 million jobs? Or less than that? Less than 1 million jobs during his whole presidency? How many jobs did Clinton create? Do the history. History is important. We learn from our history. We learn from our history. History is important. Not far history, but the history that didn't happen too long ago, 50 or 60 years. A lot has changed in that time. The last 20 years, a lot has changed in that time. So pay attention. Learn from your history. The 90s was booming. The millennium wasn't. Was it, people? I know it didn't boom for me. Because when Clinton was in office, I was able to go out and get me a job, and I did. When Bush was in office, there was no work for me. Now, I'm not saying that, I'm a saint or anything and that I followed the laws of the... No, I didn't. What I did was pick myself up on my bootstraps and got to work. That's what I did. And in that process, time flew by. And when it came time, when Bush got in office, he didn't care about the little people. Unfortunately, he doesn't care about the little people. Kanye West got it wrong. It's just not blacks. It's the poor. Just so happened, most poor people are black and Latino. Okay, so that's enough of my rant. This is the note to the people. You cannot vote Republican when the Republicans are on the far right of the spectrum. It brings back the 16th century, 18th century witch hunts. It brings back that witch hunts, drownings, burnings, but on a different scale. People burning in debt, drowning in debt, houses going up in smoke, the value of their houses going up in smoke. So you got to vote locally. Know that when you vote locally, it affects nationally. It affects nationally. Thank you for letting me rant, and I hope you appreciate this.